Hey guys, my rants go from like 0 to 1,000. I guess I'm still somewhat passionate about photography. Anyway, or at least just chatting about gear. Yeah, so anyway, if you read the title, obviously this is a photo rant. So for those of you not interested in photography, you might as well close the tab, save yourselves. For those of you who are interested in photography but can't quite keep up, why don't you just ask questions in the comments below and someone will get back to you. Some keyboard warrior or I will get back to you. And for those of you with itchy fingers ready to fight me, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to fight you in the comments. I'm here to make you look stupid in the comments. Kidding. But look, you want the payout, you want to go, you don't want to listen to my rant. Okay, so here's the honest truth. The truth is that I really do love the Q3 28mm. I've always loved it. I've had problems with the lens in the past. I still have problems with the lens, but if you learn to work around it, you get great ergonomics, you get a decently wide lens, this wide actually, because I'm using a 28mm here, and you get, some of that Leica magic sauce. However, if you buy the Q43 thinking, oh, well, I love the ergonomics and I want that Leica magic sauce, I just want a slightly narrower field of view, you're not going to get that. This lens has no magic. It is a Panasonic lens. I'm not being a snob. I am a snob. I'm not being a snob. It has Panasonic rendering. It looks like a Panasonic lens. You grab the 35 1.8 and the 50 1.8 and you take photos and you compare it to the Q43, it'll look the same. The rendering is the same. Any YouTuber out there that's telling you the Q43 has magic sauce, they're lying. They're idiots. Don't listen to them. They're probably trying to get in Leica's good books or something. I've never understood that. Look, brands, don't send me anything. And if you do, and it's bad, I will trash the shit out of you because I do not care. If it's good, then I'll praise it. But chances are it's not going to be good, or at least not to me, because I'm a snob. But yeah, so anyway, look, do you want ergonomically superior camera that's lightweight, easy to work with? You can just switch it from full auto to semi-auto if you want to get creative, to full manual if the challenging lighting conditions demand it. You can do that with the Q. You can do that with the Q43, you can do that with the Q28. And you just need that narrower field of view, then get the Q43. Go on. It's not going to take bad images. I mean, I'm a bad photographer. I could still take good images with that camera. So look, if I were you and I just wanted something that was ergonomically sound and had a narrower field of view, I would get the Q43. But if you are looking for like a magic sauce, then you're better off getting like an M10. They're pretty reasonable right now. And maybe like an old 35 version 1 ASPH, or maybe even like, shoot, heck, a 35 FLE. They're really cheap right now. You'll get more magic sauce from that combo, and it'll only be a little bit more based on what I've seen of used prices lately. But realistically, I mean, to those of you who just want to know if you should buy the camera, it's not a bad camera. It will take great images. In your capable hands, it'll take amazing images. They just won't have that like a magic sauce. And if that's okay with you, buy one. Okay, now, for those of you who want to listen to this rant, I'm going to keep it short because I'm just exhausted from going from 0 to 1,000. So back in 2016, they launched the Q. I went to the launch event. I fell in love for various reasons, ergonomics being the most important. I bought the Q, and then what do? Well, because it's my own money, I decide to rip apart the DNG file, and I decide to expose Leica's dirty little secrets. I was the one that initially found out that there's a 24mm image circle, and they've stretched it to fit full frame, and in that stretching, you get essentially about a 28mm crop. I mentioned this on the forums, and if you guys don't believe me, you guys can look back through the old archives and you'll see I was probably the first person to bring this up. I mentioned this on the forums, and a lot of people sort of raged out on me about this, and that's when I kind of realized I don't really care about other people's opinions. But they raged out saying, oh, you won't even notice, who cares, it's not a big deal. But the reality is that it was a big deal, and you do notice. So this peripheral here, and I'm using, like I said, a 28mm lens, this peripheral right here, if you shoot one person and you shoot them pretty tight, their head cones out. If you shoot a group of people, they sort of bulge out on the sides. That's because of the lens. That's because it's being stretched out to suit the full frame image circle. Now, if you say want to shoot like a person and you walk close and you realize, oh, this 28 looks kind of weird. Well, that's because it's a bad 28. A real 28, the 28 Summicron M, the 28 Summilux M, and even the 28 Summicron SL APO that I'm using right now, they're all minimally digitally corrected. So they don't really have that kind of like imaging problem. So with the Q, you need to be just aware of how you shoot it. And if you're aware of how you shoot it, then you're fine. Then you can navigate it and you can take great photos, better photos than I ever could, because I'm not really good at taking photos. I'm just good at talking about photo gear. But yeah, so look, you know, if you can work within the quirks of the Q 28mm, you can take great photos. It has like a little bit of that like a magic. So it's worth buying, it's worth owning. I feel like I should have stopped at the Q2 monochrome because that was like the pinnacle of Q tech. I really loved everything about it. I stupidly sold it off, bought a Q3. I'm not super happy with that 60 megapixel sensor, which is the other thing I want to rant about. The SL3, the M11, M11P, M11M, Q328, and Q343 all have that Leica 60 megapixel sensor. I knew it was trash the second I bought a Sigma FPL. So I bought this FPL, and about a week after using it, I was like, oh, yuck, and I sold it. And it's definitely the same sensor that's in all of these Leicas that I just mentioned. So yeah, the Q43 has that going against it. But despite that, like I said, it can take good images. I mean, any modern camera can take good images. Any modern lens can take good images, probably sharp images, probably images with smooth bokeh. I mean, any camera system out there right now can do that. Very few can produce magic. And I just feel like, you know, the Q28 has a little bit of magic, enough magic to make it worth it, even though it's expensive. The ergonomics make up for that rest of that expense. But I feel like the Q43, it's not the complete package. The Q43 has the great ergonomics, but it doesn't have that magic in the lens. So even though it's a little more like tight, a little more what I would want to shoot with, I just don't know if I'm going to keep it. I'm really not sure. In my mind, I'm thinking, well, you know what? I'll keep both. I'll dual wield. I'll use the 28 and the 43. And if I fall back in love with the 28, then I'll just get rid of the 43. And if I really can't fall in love with either, then I'll just pray that Leica comes out with an SL3S that's really tiny and has like physical dials, much like the Q, that accepts my great Summicron SL APO lenses. Because honestly, those are top tier. You know, funny thing about all lenses being more similar than different. So the SL Summicron APO lenses designed by Peter Carby are so good that they actually have their own uniqueness to them. They're unique in the fact that they're so good. It's a weird concept to explain, but you know that YouTuber, that elephant guy, I don't want to shame anyone, but he's not going to watch my videos. He's got like a few 100,000 subscribers, and his little grip is cool, so I'll give him that. But the reality of the situation is that I wouldn't trust anything that comes out of that guy's mouth, because he raved and raved about these DN/DG f2 Sigma primes, you know, how great they were, how close they were to the Summicron SL-APO lenses, you know, how they were like 90% there. I think he literally said like something like 90% there. That's bullshit. That's complete rubbish. Those are trash lenses. I'll give you a little story time. So back about a month or so ago, I went to Vietnam. I went to Da Nang, and I decided to take the DG f2 lenses and the 2.8, and I took them and I started taking photos, and I got so depressed that I didn't want to do anything. I was just like really upset at how bad the image quality was. They just looked terrible. They were just so bad that I really just didn't want to shoot, and it ruined my whole vacation. So you, sir, have ruined my vacation by lying on YouTube. But yeah, anyway, look, I think that, you know, lenses do have magic. I think that there are a lot of lenses out there that are outliers. Some Sigma lenses have unique sort of looks that I love. You know, you get that in some GM lenses. You really get that in the new Nikon massive primes, like the 50, the 85, and the 135. They have beautiful rendering. So you can get that magic outside of Leica. It's just that Q43 isn't it. The Q43 is just a basic, good but basic Panasonic lens. It's very similar to the small little Nikon Z primes. They're very basic as well, the 35 and the 85, 35, 50 and 85, sure, and 24 and all the other lenses, but specifically the 35 and the 50 are really basic as well. And you know, if you think about the Leica Q43, you could probably buy a ZF and a 35 and a 50, and you'd have tons of pocket money to go on a vacation, and you'd get, okay, the ZF has terrible ergonomics in my opinion. I mean, it's not the ergonomics actually. The buttons, the dials, they're all cool. It's the way Nikon has programmed them, and I know what you guys are going to say, because I've gone through it and I reprogrammed them. I spent like 2 weeks trying to like get the buttons to do what I want, and you just can't get them to do what you want. They're smart in a way, but they're almost so smart that they're stupid, if that makes sense. But anyway, yeah, so you could buy the ZF, you could buy 2 lenses, and you could go take a vacation, and you'd still have money left over from buying a Q43. So my advice to you is to buy a, I don't know, a little Fuji or something, and just be happy with that. But anyway, I'm gonna stop this because I've rambled on for far too long. So I will see you guys in another vlog.